So today we are going to start with a new chapter called as controlling. Now let me tell you one thing. Controlling is one of the easiest chapter. Let me tell you again, it is the easiest chapter that we are going to study. Now, controlling. What is controlling? So you might be figuring out that we should start with definition, but right now we are not going to start with definition. We are going to start with steps of controlling. Now, if you understand the steps of controlling, from it you can make the entire definition. Now, controlling steps, you have to memorize them by heart. Okay. First one, setting up of standards. Now, setting up of standards. The word standard over here means goals. So, what is the new sentence? Setting up of goals, or you have to set the goals. Now, we are going to talk from two perspectives, student and company. Now, what is a goal of a student? To achieve 80 percentage. Mr. A has a goal to achieve 80 percentage. On the other hand, company. Whenever you talk about company, the goal of company, for example, Apple is to produce 1000 iPhone. Okay, so the first step of controlling process is to set up of goals, and in the language of business studies we will call them as standards. Second one, now we have set up goals. Now moving forward to the next point. This was goal. This was goal, right? And the second point is measuring actual. This is actual. Now this is result. Now this was daydreaming kind of thing, that you as a student were dreaming that I will secure 80 percentage. Now in reality, what is your result? So now the actual result, student got 70 percentage. What was the goal? 80 percentage, but the student got 70 percentage. Company's goal was to produce 1000 iPhone, but in reality company could produce only 700 iPhone. Okay, now we are going to compare. Comparison of what? Step 1 and step 2. That means comparison of standards and comparison of actuals. Let me repeat the sentence again. Comparison of actual and standard. That means comparison of goal and actual result. What is the goal of the student? 80 percentage. What is the result? 70 percentage. So we have compared goal with standard. Okay. Now let's see over here from the perspective of student. As we have discussed above, goal was 80 percentage, but in actual Mr. A, the student, got only 70 percentage. Now when you talk about a company, the goal was 1000 units of iPhone, but in reality, in actual, Apple company was being able to produce only 700 units. Okay, now analyzing deviations, that means differences. Now deviation is just a hi-fi word to confuse you out. No need to get confused. Deviation means difference. Difference between what? Difference between goal and actual. Now what is the difference between goal and actual over here? 10. Right, the goal was 80 percentage, but in actual the student got 70 percentage. That means there is a difference of 10 percentage. This is our step number 4. Now let's talk about company. What is the deviation, or what is the difference between goal and actual, or in the language of textbook, standard and actual? Now goal was to produce 1000 units. In actual, they were being able to produce only and only 700 units. So what is the situation? 300 units is the deviation or difference between goal and actual, or standard and actual. Now the last step is taking corrective action. Mr. A wanted to achieve 80 percentage, but he was being able to achieve 70 percentage. So he has secured 10 percentage less. So the student has to stop using phone or has to use phone less. No social media for the time being. You are in 12th, so focus on 12th so that you can secure the essential marks. Third, focus on study rather than focusing on everything else. Company. The company wanted to produce 1000 iPhones, but they were being able to produce 700 iPhones. So they have to find out techniques to increase the production. And the second one is they have to buy good machineries so that it is easy to increase the production from 700 to 1000 and decrease the difference. Okay, so this was all about steps of controlling. First, setting up of goals. Second, measuring actuals. Third, comparison. Fourth, the difference. And the last one, taking corrective actions. Now, deviations can be of two types, right or wrong. You might be thinking, what if a student gets 90 marks, right? That is also a difference, right or wrong. But we focus more on negative results rather than positive results. So if you are going to score 90 marks and you told me that you are going to score 80 marks, it is all okay, I won't say anything. But what if you are scoring 80 instead of 90? I'll ask you questions, right or wrong. So in controlling, we will focus more on negative rather than positive. Now difference or deviations are of two types, positive and negative. Now positive, what is positive difference? Goal. The goal of a student was to achieve 80%, and in actual that student got 90%, right or wrong. So this is called as positive difference. Why? Because the goal was 80 and the actual result is 90%. Well and good, no problem. Next one is negative. The goal was 80%, but in actual he got 70%. That means he has secured 10% less. Hence the answer is negative. Now we have discussed all the 4 points. Now try to memorize all the 4 points, and according to this 4 point you can write the definition. What is controlling? Okay, you have to remember the steps. First one, setting up of standards. Second one, measuring actual, right or wrong. Third one, comparison between actual and standards. Fourth one, analyzing deviations. Deviation is a very easy word. Deviation means difference. I'm repeating it again and again. Please do not get confused. And the last one is taking corrective actions. Now what is the definition of controlling? Simple. It can be defined as comparison. Right or wrong? Controlling is a comparison. Comparison of what? Goals and actuals. It can be defined as comparison of actual performance with the planned performance. Right or wrong? Now what do you understand by the term planned performance? Just a new word. You don't have to get confused. Planned performance means goals, and actual performance means the performance that you have given in the exam. Your goal was to achieve how much percentage? 80%. So your goal is your planned performance. So your goal is to achieve 80%, but in actual you were being able to secure only 70%. Right or wrong? So this is the first part of the definition. Remember my rule. Break the definition into how many parts you want so that you can easily understand the definition. And finding differences. Right or wrong? You have measured actual with goal or actual with plan, and you got a difference. Difference is of how much? 10%. Now you have to correct this difference. That means 70% was your actual performance, but you have to do anything so that your 70% becomes 80%. So you have to take corrective actions. I hope the definition is clear. Now the next topic is nature of controlling. Now what do you understand by the term nature of controlling? It is a goal-oriented process. Now let's see whether controlling is a goal-oriented process or not. First one, setting up of objectives. As a student, our goal is to achieve 80%. That is our goal. Is controlling a goal-oriented process? Yes, because whenever you talk about controlling, the first step is to set up of objectives. And objective means what? Goals. Right or wrong? So what is controlling? Controlling is a goal oriented process. It is what? A goal oriented process, because controlling starts with setting up of objectives, and objective means what? Goals. So you can see over here everything is related to the goal. Setting up of standards. What is the standard? 80%. Actual, a student got 70% in actual. Now you are going to compare 80 and 70. That means you are going to compare the goal and you are going to compare the actual, and that is also related to the goal. D, what is the D point? Difference. Difference is between what? Difference between goal is 80% and actual is 70%. So it is also related to the goal. And what is the difference? 10. So there is a difference of 10 in goal and actual, and taking corrective actions. Now these actions are being taken so that this 70% of actual gets converted into 80%, and which is directly or indirectly related to the goal. So the first point, the first feature, the first nature is it is a goal oriented process. Now the second point is it is pervasive. Confuse a new word? No, we have already discussed it many times. Pervasive. What do you understand by the term pervasive? Pervasive means it is present everywhere. What do you understand by the term pervasive? Pervasive means it is present everywhere. Who is present everywhere? Right now we can say that coronavirus is a pervasive disease. Why is coronavirus pervasive? Because it is present everywhere. It is present in the United States of America. It is present in Canada. It is present in United Kingdom. It is present in India. It is present in Pakistan. It is present in Mid Asia. It is present in China. Right or wrong? Hence, coronavirus is what? Pervasive. It is present everywhere. In the same manner, whenever you talk about this situation, controlling is pervasive. That means controlling is present everywhere. It is present in India. It is present in US. It is present in China. It is present in UK. It is present in Australia. It is present each and everywhere. Now, let's take an example to understand this. When you talk about controlling, US, a student of US is going to control. Right or wrong? A student of India is also going to control. Right or wrong? So whether the student is from United States of America or whether the student is from India, he has to get involved in controlling if he or she wants to achieve the goals. US company or Indian company, they have to engage in controlling. Why do they have to engage in controlling? If they want to achieve goals. So the second point is controlling is pervasive. That means it is present everywhere. The third point that we are going to discuss is controlling is forward looking. Now, whenever you talk about controlling, we know one thing. Controlling is all about achieving goal. Now, you set up a goal. Right now, you are setting up a goal that in your boards, you require at least 70% marks. Now, this 70% marks you want in the board. Is it right now? Is it in the present? No. This goal of achieving 70% is not in the present. You are going to work in the present, but this goal is of the future. That is, in March you are going to appear and you might get your results in June, right? So it is not in the present. Is it in the past? No. This goal is not in the past, but this goal is in future. Right or wrong? So goals, whenever you set up goals, you want to achieve the goal. These goals are of future. Remember my words, you are going to work for these goals right now in the present. You are going to prepare each and everything to achieve the goal, but these goals can be achieved only in the future. So controlling is a forward looking exercise. And the last one, Controlling is a continuous process. Now let's talk about how it is controlling is a continuous process. Now you will do the first step, setting up of objectives, or in a simplified term I can call it as setting up of goals. B, measuring actuals. You are going to measure actuals. 80% was your objective, your actual is 70%. I am repeating this again and again because this is the most important thing that you need to understand, because these steps are the basic things. Goal is 80%, actual is 70%. What is the difference? Difference is 10%, which is negative, so you have to focus on it, and then you have to take corrective actions. Now this is over. You have completed your 12th. Now you get into first year. Again, for first year you have set up the goal that you want to achieve 80% in your college first year. Setting up of objectives, measuring actuals, difference, taking corrective actions. Now second year, you will continue this again, setting up of objectives, measuring actuals, difference, taking corrective actions, over. Now you will say, sir, we will complete bachelor's, we will complete master's, we have completed our studies. Now what is the need of controlling? Then you will need to control your real life. You have to set up goals for your real life. You have to measure actuals. You have to take out differences. You have to take corrective actions again and again if you want to be successful. See, controlling is only for those people who want to be successful, only for those companies who want to be successful. So if you do not want to be successful, if you do not want your company as a manager to be successful, no need of doing controlling. Each and every person in this world is not doing controlling, but yes, every person who wants to achieve the goal is engaged in this process. Maybe they do not know the steps, but indirectly or directly they are in the process. Okay, so this was nature of controlling. Now moving forward to the next point, limitations of controlling. Now what do you understand by the term limitations of controlling? Limitations, now whenever you talk about any particular scenario, there are advantages and there are disadvantages. Now you are going to talk about disadvantages of controlling. Difficult in setting standards. Now I give you a very easy example, that you want to appear for examination, board examination, and how many percentage of marks you might get. But now I'll give you a hard example. Now just tell me, what shall be your goal? For students, how much percentage of knowledge do you want in this year? Is it possible? Okay, anyone of you will say, sir, I want 90% of knowledge. I want 100% of knowledge. Okay, you want 90% of knowledge. Now measure actuals. Can you say in reality how much knowledge you are getting? No. Knowledge is intangible. That means it is a quality which cannot be seen, which cannot be touched. It is intangible in nature. So you cannot measure knowledge. And if you cannot measure knowledge, you cannot set up goals. So you cannot set up goals regarding knowledge. Yes, you can set up goals that you need to gain knowledge, but you cannot set up goal that I want to gain 50% of knowledge or I want to gain 70% of knowledge. Have you heard about that person? That person is having 70% of knowledge. No, it is next to impossible. Whenever you talk about this kind of scenarios, you might say that person is knowledgeable, but you cannot say that person is having this much percentage of knowledge. Company, job satisfaction. Okay, can you say or can you set up a goal that my employees or my workers who are working in my organization, who are working in my company, who are working in my shop shall feel job satisfaction? Is it possible? No, it is not possible. Job satisfaction cannot be measured. Why? Because it is a quality, and whenever you talk about qualities, you should keep one thing in mind. Qualities cannot be seen. Qualities cannot be cannot be touched. It can only be felt. My apologies. It means it cannot be seen, it cannot be touched, but it can be felt, because job satisfaction is intangible quality in an employee. Okay, so it is very difficult to measure standards, or if it is very difficult to set up goals of intangible things. You cannot set up goals which cannot be seen and touched. The second limitation of controlling is no control over external environment. No matter you are doing each and every planning, you are setting up of goals, you want to secure how much 80 percentage, you are measuring actual, but when is this possible? You don't have any control over any of these particular things. Now you will say how. First, political environment. Do you have any control? No. E. Economical environment. Do you have any control? No. Social environment. Do you have any control? No. Technological environment. Do you have any control? No. And environment. Do you have any control? No. Legal environment. Do you have any control? No. You do not have any control over this. Right now, external environment, a social environment, coronavirus is going on. Now, let's think about a student who was thinking in 12th. For example, any student, take any student from our 12th class. For example, any of the 12th class students, you can take one name, set up of objectives or setting up of objective. That person has a target of achieving 80 percentage, but because of external factor which we cannot control, we have discussed it in chapter number 3, that pestle is not controllable, you cannot control any of the factors. So he decided to secure 80 percentage, but in reality the exam got postponed and he is not being able to achieve this score because of this reason, right? Third, resistance from employees and workers. Now, what do you understand by the term resistance? Resistance means they will say no. They will clearly say no, that we do not want controlling, because they will lose their freedom. Employees and workers do not like controlling. Now, let me give you a very simple example. We all know that today, if a maid is coming to our house to do the work, right? Would you shout at them? Would you control them? Would you put cameras to see what work the maid is doing? No. Why? Because maid will avoid it and maid will say no, that I don't like to be controlled, right? So in the same manner, just apply that same philosophy of maid to workers and employees. They do not like it, right? Employees strike for no to cameras at workplace in 2012. In the year 2012 in Bengaluru, right, there was a strike, and this strike was because the employees were saying no to cameras. Why were they saying no? Because the employer or the boss can see every activity they are doing. And the last one is costly process. It is a costly process. Now, why is it a costly process? It is simple. It is a costly process because controlling is being done by managers, who will control the employees and who will control the workers. They are controlled by the manager. So manager will control employees and workers. Manager will tell employees and workers that you have to work. Now you are going to appoint managers. The salary of managers is very much high, and this is very much costly. So control is not easy. Control is not cheap. It is very much expensive. There are managers who are taking salary in crores. Right or wrong? Whenever you talk about CEOs, whenever you talk about CFO, these are managers who are managing the business, managers who are controlling the employees and workers. They are taking salary in crores. When you talk about Sundar Pichai, he is the CEO of Google. He is a manager of Google who is controlling the entire Google, and his salary is around 650 crores per year. So it is a costly process.